these songs. Come on.
Walking the wayside, lost on a lonely road. I was chasing the high life, trying to satisfy my soul. All the lies I believed in left me crying like the rain. Then I saw lightning from heaven, and I've never been the same. I'm gonna climb a mountain, I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love. I found a world of freedom, I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love. The sting of the fire, but I saw you in the flames. Just when I thought it was over, you broke me out of the grave. I'm gonna climb a mountain, I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love. I found the world of freedom, I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love. Yeah. Oh, I am a child of love. Yeah. Oh, I am a child of love. Nothing can change the way you love me. Nothing can change the way I belong to you. Yes, I do. Nothing can separate. Nothing can change the way you love me. Nothing can change the way I belong to you. Yes, I do. Nothing can separate. I'm gonna climb a mountain. Now put your hands together out there. Come on. Hey, I am a child of love. I found a world of freedom. I am a child of love. I'm gonna climb a mountain, I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love. I found a world of freedom, I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love. Yeah. Oh, I am a child of love. Oh, I am a child of Dream after dream, you are speaking to me, breathing word after word of kingdom come. Here at your feet, I can see the unseen. Truly, one look at you, and I'm undone. I run to the throne room, I run to the throne room, and I fall on my face with angels. I can say is holy, holy, holy are you, God. My heart can't contain the weight of your name, and all I can say is holy, holy, holy are you. God, we thank you that your unconditional love follows us through every doubt, every fear, every trial, Lord. Thank you for that. We praise you in Jesus' name. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, every breath we could ever breathe, we live for you. Oh, we live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe, we live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes and wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe, and we live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes and wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Lead me in your love. And I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken, and I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation. Yes, I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes and wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. And I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation. Yes, I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. And I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken.
Lord, thank you. Thank you that you are that firm foundation. That in everything in life, through all of the ups, all the downs, all the trials, you are the foundation. That if we let you build our lives, if we let you be the architect for our story, then we will have nothing to gain, nothing to lose. We will have already got everything we need. Father, let us lean in. Let us lean in and let you be the foundation builder of our lives and transform all of us for your will and your purpose. God, thank you so much. In your name we pray. Amen. Well, good morning, South Point. Man, y'all looking so good this morning. Can we give another huge round of applause for these amazing students leading us in worship? Man, it is Young Guns Sunday, so I hope you guys are ready and strapped in because it is just getting started. My name is Carson. I'm the next generation pastor here. I get the privilege and honor to hang out with your students all the time. I love it. I wouldn't ask for anything else. We have some great things coming up next week. This week coming up on Friday, we have women's conversations. It is going to be awesome, guys. We've got a great speaker coming in to really go real and raw about what her experience was like growing up as a young woman. So ladies, sign up for it on the app. Talk to somebody out in the lobby. And I encourage you, if you have a daughter or an aunt or someone that really needs to hear this about what it's really like to be a young woman experiencing life in this generation, please encourage them, bring them to this conversation. And out in the lobby, we've got a booth set up for our college and career ministry. If you just graduated high school or you're between the ages of 19, 30, and you're wondering, what's the point? What's the next step? Well, we have that for you, and it is called The Point. It is the college and career ministry here that will help you connect and get to the next step of where you need to be. So check out with Corey and Mitch out in the lobby. They're right there as you exit. They'd love to connect with you guys and tell you a little bit more about that ministry. We're going to take 42 seconds, change some things around. So high five somebody, foot bump, whatever you're comfortable with, and we'll get ready, set, go.
Good morning and welcome to South Point Online. My name is Vina and I am one of the online pastors here at South Point. We're so excited to have you joining us today. We are live people behind the computers chatting with you. If you haven't logged in yet, log in so that we can say hi to you. If you would like to follow along while Pastor Craig teaches, there'll be a link to the notes in the comments. There's also a link to giving and live prayer. We will pray with you in real time. We're so excited to have you here. Let's get ready to hear an awesome message from Pastor Craig.
Hi, welcome to South Point. We're super stoked to have you.
If you're a guest with us today, pull out your Next Steps card located in your worship guide, fill it out, and drop it in the offering box on the way out.
Or you could click Connect on our app.
If you need prayer for anything, you can click the Connect button on our app.
Or you can scan the QR code now or at the end of service when it pops back up.
In order for everyone to get the most out of their Sunday morning experience, if your child does this, please take advantage of our state-of-the-art kids area. It's equipped with a mother's room, a cry room, and classes to accommodate ages 8 weeks to 5th grade.
Here at South Point, we are rationally generous. When you're generous, we can be generous too.
Absolutely, guys, and there are 3 ways to give. You can drop off your giving in the offering boxes on the back wall in the auditorium. You can go to our website, southpoint.tv, or you can use the app.
We want to connect with you on our socials.
We have Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
Go give us a like, follow, and all of the other stuff you do on those socials. And now we're going to get ready for an amazing message.
What is up, South Point? How y'all doing, huh? Come on, how y'all doing? I mean, this is a great day. Aren't you glad to be in church? It's a beautiful day, beautiful day, beautiful day. If it's your first time here today, my name is Craig, and my wife Patty and I get to pastor this amazing church every single week, so thank you so much for being here, and thanks for loving us. While you're looking all happy, because you're looking pretty happy, will you do me a favor? Will you guys put your hands together and help me welcome the rest of our family watching online, YouTube, Facebook, Church Online platform. We are glad that you guys are here and a part of the family. Love you, love you, love you. Now, next week, I'm going to continue our series called Unfiltered. We're going to keep going through the book of Colossians. We're going to be on chapter 3. So make sure you come for that. Today we are taking a little time out from our series because it is Young Gun Sunday, and it is pretty special. Somebody said one time, they said, oh, so it's like a youth takeover Sunday. No, that's just the wrong lingo, because how can you take over something that you already own? This is their church just like it's our church, and it doesn't matter how old you are. This is our South Point family. And so they're not taking over. All we're doing is pushing them a little bit more forward, just helping them take one more little step forward, putting a spotlight on them and saying, look at what God is doing in these lives. It is absolutely amazing. And some of you, if you're older than me, which is getting up there, you might say, what's the point? Okay, here's the deal. Not that the gospel message is a marketing idea. Okay, so I'm going to say that, but I'm going to use it in that context for just a second. Here's the deal. If you're going to market something and sell a product, again, not saying it's a product, but you tracking with me? Just nod at me. You're not nodding. Okay. You're going to find the people that it meets their needs more than anybody else. Of all the people that have accepted Jesus Christ and made a decision for Jesus Christ, 96% of the American population, so 96% of the people that have accepted Jesus Christ for the very first time are under the age of 30. And of that 96%, 85% of that 96 who have made a decision for Christ are under the age of 14. 85%. So if that's where the majority is, where do you think we should be spending the most kingdom bucks? Where should we be investing, and where should we be doing that? Because look at this verse in Genesis 14. It says this: when Abram heard that his nephew Lot had been captured, he had been kidnapped through this little war thing going on back then, Abraham mobilized 318 trained men who had been born into his household. Understand something. He knew how many sons of the house he had. They were counted. They were numbered. Why do we count? It's important to count. They were counted and they were trained. And so what you're seeing today is we are trying to train up the next generation, the now generation. We want our ceiling to be their floor. We want them to do better and be more blessed than we ever were. Come on, nod at me. Because if all we do is spend money and just take care of the building, which we have a great building, don't we? Let me add to it, y'all. Hey, today we got indoor plumbing. What? That'll preach. Those of you that are watching online and you don't know what we're even talking about, we're in Mississippi and we just got indoor plumbing. Work that out, all right? But if all we do is spend time on the building, we're going to miss something. It's a beautiful building. I'm so thankful for the blessings it is. But if we're not careful, we'll end up like Absalom. Absalom was one of King David's son who took over the throne and did a horrible job. I mean, he just destroyed the kingdom. And at the end of his life, here's his epitaph. Here's what they say about him after he died. Check this out, man. I don't want this to be ours. During his lifetime, Absalom had built a monument to himself, for he said, I have no son to carry on my name. We want sons and daughters to carry on the name of Jesus Christ in this house, right? So here's the way this is going to work today. These guys are all loaded up and ready to fire. They're going to come up here. They each have 6 minutes. They're going to have a clock on the back wall. They're also going to have a clock on the screen. The clock on the screen for you guys is not to just be counting down, waiting. It's for you to be cheering them on. Cheering them on. I told them historically the first service is less people but more rowdy. Second service is usually more people and less rowdy. So prove me wrong today, okay? Come on. Shout, yell, scream, whatever you got. They're not going to introduce themselves when they come up here because I'm going to do it right now. They're going to use all 6 of their minutes to share a word with you. And let me just tell you this. After first service, some people ask me, did you write their messages for them? No, I did not. You need to know that front, because when you hear them, you're going to be like, oh, that was written by a professional pastor. No, these guys, they're amazing. They have a word from the Lord. They have prayed. They've gotten a word from the Lord, and they're getting ready to share it with you. So I think we can all learn something and grow just a little bit more, don't you? All the way on my left and your left is the beautiful Olivia Ramirez. Right next to her, equally as beautiful, is the one, the only, Meg McGaw. And posted up in the middle, playing center for the South Point team, the slightly notorious Noah Wendell. Just as beautiful as the other two, but we never call a boy beautiful. That's just weird. Is the one and only Allie Rose. So before Olivia comes up here and starts us off, here's what I need you to do. I need you to lean in. I need you to sit on the edge of your seats. I need you to soak it in. This is not a performance. This is them hearing from the Lord and sharing something amazing with you. So I need you to clap. I need you to shout them down. When they're done, you need to stand to your feet and give them a standing ovation, because if you think it's easy standing up here talking to y'all, you crazy, right? So laugh at their jokes. If they're not funny, laugh at them anyway. You do that for me every Sunday, and I appreciate that, all right? So give it your all, and I guarantee they're going to give you their all. So, without further ado, come on, Olivia.
Could you imagine losing everything, your 10 children, your wealth, being left with nothing but your wife, 3 friends, and a bunch of boils all over your body? I couldn't, but a man in the Bible named Job could. You see, Job lost all of his livestock, which was his wealth, and then the roof literally fell through on his 10 children. Could you imagine? But Job continued to trust in the plan that God had for his life. He continued to trust in everything that God says. And it also helped because he had 3 friends, Bildad, Zophar, and Eliphaz. And in Job 2:13 it says, "Then they sat on the ground with him 7 days and nights, but no one spoke a word because they saw that his suffering was very intense." His friends go on to speak life and wisdom into his life, and they show him how great God is. So I have a question. Do you have friends like that in your life? A lot of us have said, oh, that person, she's my best friend. Oh, he's my best friend. They're always going to be here for me. Just for them to walk out of your life less than a year later, leaving you to wonder what you did wrong. But let me encourage you. God does not take people out of your life just to put you in despair. So for those of you who don't know, I lost my mother earlier this year. My freshman year, she was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. So I watched her struggle with cancer all 4 years of high school. I saw her have her good days and her bad days, and I watched her go through remission a couple times, and I watched her go through all of her treatments. And then my senior year, she did lose her battle with cancer. She was my best friend, so when I lost her, I was just filled with such anguish, and I just didn't know what to do. She was a single mom. She was just everything to me, and amidst all of this, I could still feel the love and the prayers surrounding me, and I knew that they were there because had they not been, I was having stuff thrown at me left and right, and I was still standing strong. I knew that I wouldn't have been able to do that without the grace of God and the love and the prayers from all of my friends. So God puts people in your life for a reason, and sometimes he removes other people to help you prepare for what is coming, because you don't know what's coming. God has a plan for you. In Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5, God comes to Jeremiah and says, "I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart." But this is true for all of his children. It was true for me, and it's true for all of you sitting out there today and watching online. He knows you, he formed you, and he set you apart. He knew that I needed my amazing church family and my family in general and all of my friends if my mom was going to pass away my senior year. He knew that I also didn't need all of the crazy drama I sometimes allowed my life to revolve around. So your life moves in seasons just as the world does. And Miss Patty talked about this a couple weeks ago, and she reminded us that although we can go through some really tough seasons, we can always learn something through them. So what's your favorite season? Summer, all right. If you didn't say summer, you're weird. Or maybe you're an adult because, you don't get the whole summer off. And honestly, I'm not sure which one is worse, but I guess I'll find out in a couple years. Either way, you wear different clothes in different seasons. So just as you wouldn't wear shorts in the middle of a snowstorm, you wouldn't wear a scarf in the middle of summer. And just as you wear certain clothes in certain seasons, certain people are not meant to go through every season of life with you. So let that encourage you. Let that encourage you because if you haven't already lost a family member or been through a terrible breakup or lost a job or some other tragedy, you will. But let it remind you that God is here for you and He has a plan for you. He knows the plan that He made for you. And He knows all of your secrets and all of your valleys and everything. So He has a plan to get you out of that valley. In Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10, it says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand." These moments of despair will strengthen you and set your heart more on fire for God if you allow them to, and look for those divine relationships already placed in your life. So about 20 minutes after my mom passed away, I was all stressed out, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to go on? And I texted Pastor Craig, and I asked him, I was like, hey, can you do my mom's funeral? Didn't even tell him really what happened. And he goes, and let me step back. It took him the time it takes me to climb into my boyfriend's Land Cruiser to go get some ice cream, to call me and say, and he was just telling me all this stuff, and I could feel the empathy, and I could hear it in his voice, and I could hear the love, and it calmed me to know that he was there for me, and I had a wise and loving family of Wendells and a South Point family standing around and supporting me through all of the tough days to come. My South Point family was not just some lucky accident, and I didn't just stumble across this place. God had set this moment in this place in my life before I even knew who or where South Point was. So let's go back to Job's story. A famous scripture that comes from that story is God gives and He takes away. He gives and He takes away. I may have lost my mother my senior year, the year I had so many big plans for, but God gave me my South Point family and my actual family who continued to help me through all of the tough days, who held my hand at her funeral, and who continued to support me months after she has passed away. They have never left my side. So I have a question for you. What have you lost in your life? Was it a job? Was it a really great relationship or friendship? Was it a family member? Let's think about what God has given you. Has He given you an even better job at an even better business? Has He given you a relationship that actually leads you closer to God? Has He simply given you peace? Losing people, jobs, friendship, losing anything is hard. But if you allow yourself to look at what God has given you, going through the seasons of life won't be so overwhelming. My name is Olivia, and I am a young gun.
Hey guys. So growing up, I was always in a diverse environment until, I've always been in one, but it wasn't really prominent to me until I moved here to DeSoto County in the 6th grade. So I want to tell y'all a story. It's about my friend Phoebe. So I was spending the night at her house one night, and I just got done rolling up my hair, ready to go to bed, and I put my bonnet on. She looks at me, she goes, can I ask a question? How many of you think that she's going to ask to touch my hair? Go ahead, raise your hands, it's okay. It's fine. She didn't. She asked me what my bonnet was for and why I was wearing it. I told her what it was for, why I was wearing it, and she responded with, can I wear it too? Proverbs 15:16 says, a person with a bad temper stirs up conflict, but a person who is patient calms things down. Now, I could have looked at Phoebe and been like, why are you asking me that? That's stupid. You should know what it's for. But I didn't. She had a concern, and I answered it. So, how many of you like ice cream? I know everybody likes ice cream. So I used to work at Boomers, and they have the best ice cream ever. Amen. So think of I'm going to make an analogy. So think of all the relationships in your life like a big ice cream cone. Friends will be the top scoop of that cone. Now, let's talk about my grandma. I don't know if you've met her, but she's really blunt. She's a Southern lady, and she plays piano at church. So you already know how this is going to go. So I asked her, I was like, so how did you deal with diversity growing up, because she's a little bit older. And she said, no matter what person it was or what friend she had, they let her know one way or another that she was black and that she wasn't as privileged as them, or that she was the black sheep. Now that made me, I took a step back from that. I was like, wow, I didn't know that people were really out there like that. So Joshua 6:26 says, at the time Joshua made a promise and called down a curse. He said, may the person who tries to rebuild the city of Jericho be under the Lord's curse. If that person lays its foundation, it will cost the life of his oldest son. If he sets up its gates, it will cost the life of his youngest son. Family has the ability to influence any of the friendships that we make or have. They're the first relationships we're ever introduced to. But I didn't let that hinder me from creating friendships outside of my own race or people that look different from me. I saw it as a learning opportunity for me and for them. So our second scoop on our cone, remember, is family. Or you could relate back to Jesus and his disciples. They were made to serve a purpose, but not to be servants unto him. 1 Corinthians 11 says, no one can lay any other foundation than what has already been laid. That foundation is Jesus Christ. Every relationship in our lives needs to be based around Jesus. So Jesus is our cone. Or you can think about your friends at church. We all come together to serve a purpose, just like the disciples. We all come together to serve God. Or the Last Supper, how Judas basically outed God. But what did Jesus do? He knew somebody would betray him, but yet he still broke the bread and prepared the wine. Or you can think about Peter whenever he denied Jesus. He was welcomed back with open arms by the disciples, and they prayed over him. They didn't say, oh no, why are you asking me about my bonnet? Or, oh no, you can't touch my hair. You can laugh. They didn't turn him away and hate him. And I think they learned one of the lessons that we need to learn. They realized that you have to be willing with every relationship you have to forgive, just like Jesus forgave us. I'm Meg, and I'm a young gun.
Hey guys, I'm Noah, and I'm here to talk to you about toxic relationships. Now, I had this girlfriend this one time. No, we won't tell that story. We won't tell that one. But I will tell you this one. So one day, me and my friend were in my mom's car after school. We were on the way to the gas station to get some snacks. And if you don't know what my mom drives, it's a Buick LaCrosse, and I drive a Nissan Pathfinder. So they are a little different. Hers is a little faster. So my friend thought it was a good idea to see how fast he could get, max it out. So I did. He was telling me, push it. So I'm pushing it. I got it up to about 128. I'm cruising down the interstate. And the state trooper that I passed, his radar also went up to 128. So he took me out of the car. He handcuffed me and took me straight to the Hernando Hilton. Yes, I have been to jail. I'm sorry, the pastor's kid. Yeah. But in jail, I had a lot to think about. One of the main things I was thinking about was who wasn't in jail with me, and that was my friend who was sitting next to me. And that brings us to our first point on how to discover toxic relationships, and that is lack of support. If your significant other or your best friend or whoever you're in a relationship with is not supporting you 100% of the way, then they don't need to be in your life. They don't care about you. How many know that my friend wasn't very supportive? Yeah, like 8 of you. Okay. So there's a verse in Proverbs 13:20. It says, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fool suffers harm." Now, what's that saying? You are who you hang out with. You hang out with wise people, you'll become wiser. You'll be smarter. You hang out with idiots, well, you're an idiot. Sorry to tell you. But Our next identifier is realizing when someone is controlling. Now, you know that person that tries to tell you what to do, when to do it, what to wear, when to wear it. Remember that girlfriend I mentioned earlier? I'm just kidding. These people, though, they don't really care about you. They don't care about how you feel. They just want everything to be about them. They want to be everything to be how they like it. They don't care. You don't need these people in your life. Again, with the Proverbs, it's a pretty good book. In Proverbs 23:7, it says, "He will grudgingly say, 'Go ahead, eat all you want,' but in his heart, he resents the fact that he has to pay for your meal." Listen to that. Think about that. Do your friends have your back? Or do they secretly resent the fact that they have to be there for you? Yeah, that's good. That's good. Find friends who will be there for you when you're calling at 1 a.m. Find friends who you can depend on to be there to lift you up when you're down. Find friends who will bring you up from your lowest points, make sure you're okay. You need people in your life who you can depend on. The third and final red flag in toxic relationships is walking on eggshells. Now, I feel that every guy my age is walking on eggshells at all points because you're supposed to be strong, show no emotion, and don't cry. But you can't let that idea of being manly, you can't let it spill into relationships. You have to be able to be real with people. You have to be able to be transparent. My parents always taught me that it's not always about me. A couple weeks ago, my dad told a story, and he was making pancakes in the morning, and me and my sister were deciding on who got the first ones, and I was like, "You be Jesus, you give me the pancakes." Well, he actually told the story wrong. If you guys didn't know, it was actually Phoebe that said it. It wasn't me. It's not even like me, but whatever. Got it so wrong. But really, though, my parents did teach me that you have to think about the other person in the situation. It's really not all about you. You have to be able to be transparent with people in your relationships. You have to be able to have strong communication. You have to be able to talk to each other. You have to be able to be who you are and say what you mean without being mean when you say it. So let's recap those three identifiers. Number 1, lack of support. Number 2, controlling. Number 3, walking on eggshells. We can use these identifiers in everyday life and help you weed out your toxic relationships. I'm Noah, and I'm a young gun.
Hey, guys. Hey, Carson. Anyways, y'all ready? Okay. So has anyone ever been offered a leadership type role, maybe like the manager at work, or you even wanted to like step up and be a leader, but there's this little voice in the back of your head that tells you you're inadequate, not old enough. Maybe it tells you you're too old. I promise I am not calling y'all old. Okay? Or maybe the voice even tells you things that people could think without even actually knowing that they think that. I used to listen to those voices, and I got nowhere. Just nowhere. I feel like so many people do this with their faith, but the thing is, all these people's perception of you doesn't determine whether you get into heaven or not. Your best friend's perception or opinion of you doesn't determine whether you get into heaven or not. Your parents' perception of you doesn't determine whether you get into heaven or not. The only one who can truly determine whether you get into heaven or not is God. John 10:37-38 says, "If I'm not doing the beautiful works that my Father sent me to do, then don't believe me. But if you see me doing the beautiful works of God upon the earth, then you should at least believe the evidence of the miracles, even if you don't believe my words. Then you would come to experience me and be convinced that I'm in the Father and the Father is in me." Now, I don't know about y'all. That just sounds like it's saying actions speak louder than words. You can walk around your work or your school, your house, your town, say, "I'm a Christian," and you only go to church on Sundays. You walk out the door when sermon's over. So, about a year ago, I went to Eagle Rock for the first time. Yeah, you hear the hype? I don't know why y'all aren't clapping. Okay. So I went to Eagle Rock about a year ago. Didn't know a single person when I got on that van. Pastor Craig talked about it last year, and my mom just gives me the look of, you're going. So, yeah, that happened. I go home. Been a couple weeks, I'm chilling at home. I live in West Memphis for those that don't know. So I'm just chilling. And get a text from this guy. It's Carson. Okay. Y'all, do y'all not like Carson or something? Carson? I'm so sorry. But he's asking me if I want to be on the youth worship team, and I'm like, yeah. And then the thought comes to my head, is there another Allie that he should have texted? Like, did he get the wrong number? And, like, looking back on it, because we went to Eagle Rock again a couple weeks ago, and I got to lead worship and look out to my right and see this beautiful mountain that God created. And it's like a whole different feeling. Why did I even, like, think that it wasn't me that he was talking to? So how do we do that? How do we remind ourselves that we're not thinking we're better than everybody else? We're just doing what God tells us to do and what he's calling us to do. So the first one is you have to buy in. You hear us say here all the time, if you buy in, you get back what you give plus more. You got to be all the way in. Because in my opinion, if I'm standing here, if you're standing here and you're firm in what God has for you and you're firm in everything he tells you and what the Bible says and everything that you've learned over the years, the stuff that the world will tell you go in one ear and out the other. Because you're firm in what God has for you and you know that God can give you more than this world ever can. You have to buy in. The second one is know that you can't do it alone. If you try to do this walk with Jesus with just you and him, it will get very hard and it will be very lonely. You're like, oh, Allie, I just don't have anybody to talk to. There is not a single person sitting in this auditorium with you or anybody who goes to first service or anyone in that lobby that you could walk up to and them tell you no if you ask them to help you. I could walk up to any one of you and say, I need help, and you would say yes. And somebody would do the same thing for you. You can't do it alone. And the last one is don't wait. Don't wait are the exact words that Carson said to me after a healing and prayer night we had at Eagle Rock. He said, you're going to wait, and you're going to wait, and you're going to miss it. All of you have chances and opportunities that God has put in you for you, but you can't wait. And it's almost like I wrote this message for myself because he said that to me after I had already written this. And it was already one of my points, and he told me, and it's like, whoa, full circle. There's a speech I listened to by Walter Barnett. He talks about mindset, right? Quick question. Anybody know what a shark is? If you don't, I don't know what planet you're from. Okay. So he talks about sharks, and he compares that to mindset. My mom's in here, and she absolutely hates sharks, so she's probably in her head like, Allie, why are you doing this to me? So, but he talks about sharks and mindset, and in it he says, sharks cannot go backwards or stop swimming or they will die. So I'm going to compare God to a shark. So we want to be like God, right? So don't go backwards and don't stop swimming because somebody's judging you because your fins are taking you the direction they're not going, or you're going the direction that they want to go, but they just can't seem to go. Little quote that popped into my head. I didn't say this last service. People will want to see you succeed, but they will never want to see you go farther than they have. And a little side note, God creates you with the mindset of I have this purpose, so I'm going to create this person to fulfill it. It's not the other way around. Why do you think there's only one of you? God only needed one of you. That's why there's not 3 of you or 5 of you or 10 of you. There's one of you because God only needed one of you. That is how special and important you are in this world. He only created one of you. Colossians 3:23 says, work willingly at whatever you do as though you were working for the Lord rather than people. We're not here to serve. We're here to serve each other, but they don't give us our purpose. God gives us our purpose. He created you for a purpose. So my ending question is this. Are you going to sit around and wait and miss your opportunity? Or are you going to step up and be the shark God is calling you to be? I'm Allie, and I'm a young gun.
Oh, y'all can do better than that. Come on, let's hear it for these amazing students, man. So I'm a little bit older than these students, but when I started off as a student in ministry, I was always fascinated by adults that would serve in student ministry. Specifically, one adult who served with me when I was about 13 years old. He was in his late 50s. And I never understood why he continually showed up and showed out. He was a pilot for FedEx. He was a Navy pilot before that. And I gave him a lot of drama. I caused a lot of grief in his life. Consistently calling him the old goat. Consistently making fun of him in any way that I could, as a middle schooler likes to pick on people that are older. Any middle schooler parents in the rooms know. Yeah. And so this continued to happen until I got into high school. And I got into high school, and I started to, that picking with him started to turn into questions. Hey, how did you get to be where you are? What was it like being in the Navy? What is it like flying for FedEx? What have you been able to experience and do in your life? And then as I graduated high school, I got to really get to connect with this man and get to know him on another level. What is it like to be a really good husband? What is it like to be an honorable man? How can I change my life so I don't follow down the mistakes that my family has made, or that my father or my grandfather and other men in my family have made? How can I be better than what I come from? And now being a pastor, he is still the same person that I call and get advice on, but now it's, hey, how can I reach a student like when you reached me? And so this full circle moment comes around because we think about the next generation, the now generation, and we always think about the moment they're going to step up. One of the things that Glow Up stands for is we empower the students in this building and in this community for their chance to change the world. And we always wonder, when is that going to be? When is that moment going to be? And it's funny because if we really think about it, whether you're investing time, whether you're investing finances, whether you're investing a conversation, you are impacting the next generation now. You are giving them different examples of what to say, how to say, who to be, what to believe. Just like a man who was a volunteer for me when I was a middle schooler, I'm now asking questions about, hey, how can I do what you did for another middle schooler, for another high schooler, for another young adult? We took 2 trips this summer. We took one to Axis, and that trip was designed to give the students in middle school an opportunity to see that the only way to really get through life is to have Jesus at the center. You cannot do anything in life unless Jesus is where your heart is. There is no other way. We had students that got called to ministry. We had students that were being prayed over. And one of the biggest resounding echoes through the entire conference was, you have people around you who are here to support you. You are not alone. Because like all these students have said in every little way, that they've done all the things they've done with God, yes, but they have had an army of people beside them. Family, friends, all of you pouring into their lives. And then we took the high schoolers to Eagle Rock, and that experience is designed to kind of challenge them in their physical understanding of what to do, whether it's paintball or rock climbing or tubing. But spiritually, the theme was called Deconstructed. And it came out of the idea of, we live in a society now where you can pick and choose anything. You can like one thing, not like the other, but still say that I hold true to these values. Whether you stand for a political party or a radical movement. That same thing is creeping into spirituality and Christianity, and now it's, I can take a piece of this that I like, but I don't want to own all the other stuff. Or I really don't like that, but I love this great thing about grace. I don't like the works part, but I like the grace. And what we talked about is, if we really want to have a deconstructed life for Jesus, he has to be at the center. And it takes you accepting all of that Jesus said and letting go of the things that we said. Letting go of the things that people have said, that have attached to Jesus that aren't actually his words. And so we based that high school experience on something called this deconstructed theme from the book of 1 Thessalonians and 2 Thessalonians. Now, we've been looking through the prison epistles this summer, and it's really interesting because the church in Thessalonica was extremely young. They were on fire. They were radical for God. They were changing lives and meeting people all through their area, and they kept facing persecution, and they kept facing people that were angry at them and hated them and hurting them. And what Paul was writing in this letter was that to keep the faith, to keep the joy, to keep looking for God in every situation. He was encouraging them just like that volunteer encouraged me as a middle schooler. Through all of these epistles this summer, through all of the things we've been learning as a church, it's been pointing us to that same thing that the students heard this summer. Jesus is the center. He has to be. And so for everybody in this room that has done anything with the next generation, whether you serve on a Wednesday, you serve in Rotating Kids Point, you're involved in the college and career ministry, you've asked me, how can I support a student going to a conference this summer? How can I lean in? How can I help? How can I pour in? What can I do to make their lives better? Let me encourage you and say that the work you are doing is not going in vain. You are investing in a generation that is taking over more areas and doing more things. 50 lives changed through 2 summer experiences. And let me tell you something amazing about 2 of those really cool stories. Those baptisms, those 9 baptisms, that was not planned. That was us hanging out at an excursion after canoeing, and the students came up to the adult leaders and said, this would be a really cool place to get baptized. Can Carson talk about that? That was them. Not us. Pouring full circle back into students. Adults pouring into middle schoolers, that pour into high schoolers, that pour into college students, that pour into the leaders that are standing where you guys are helping them stand. And I've never had this experience ever in any part of my ministry. I've been working with students for years, and at the very end of our last night, we were praying over, we made some commitments as students and leaders doing all these things, and we're around the fire, we're having s'mores. I'm off to the side, I'm just kind of enjoying everything. It's been a long weekend, I'm tired, all those kind of things happen. And student after student after student after student not only comes up to me to say thank you, which I expect that. I expect the thank you, this is so great. But they followed up with, can I pray for you? Can I give you an encouraging word? Can I tell you what I'm willing to do with what I've learned? That does not happen unless everybody is committed to the next generation. It just doesn't happen. Because it takes all of us to show them that you're not getting something when it happens. It's yours now. You want it, you take it, it's yours. We're going to get you there. We're going to show you how you can be the ones that lead in every area. And we're going to be here to support you. We gave the high schoolers a keychain to leave out of Eagle Rock, and it says this. And so this is the same verse I'm giving to you guys. And as everyone in here, whether you have volunteered, whether you have given financially, whatever it is, please know that this is a charge I'm giving to you to show you that everything you have done and are doing is working. And God is fulfilling the promises. 2 Thessalonians 2:16-17, may Jesus himself and God our Father, who reached out in love and surprised you with gifts of unending help and confidence, put a fresh heart in you, invigorate your work, and enliven your speech. Be refreshed, South Point. You are not leaving the future in the hands of those unprepared. You are preparing those for their moment right now. Invigorate your speech. I'm telling you, I know what it's like talking to young people. I do it all the time. Be encouraged that the words you are speaking are giving them encouragement to dive deeper into their faith, dive deeper into their thoughts, and go deeper in how they can make this better. And enliven and invigorate that work. We're not done. This is just the beginning. This is one summer and 50 lives changed. Imagine the buy-in you've put in. Give 15% more this year. Give 5% more. Give 1% more, and watch how you radically change students' lives and show them that they have a place in the kingdom right now. The gifts that God gave us are not for us to hold to ourselves, it is for us to share. So I have a question for you guys as we close. Are you the volunteer that's going to pour into the middle schooler, just like that volunteer poured into me? Can I pray with you guys? God, thank you so much for this amazing church. Thank you for these young guns, for the worship, for the volunteers that moved all of the stage, for those that were smiling faces when they came in, for those serving in Kids Point, for those pouring coffee, for those making sure that things are picked up and clean, for the online, for the lighting, for the worship, for every single aspect of what happens here. Thank you for giving us a church that does not say, you can sit in the corner, your time will happen when it happens. It says, no, your time is right now. How can I get it to you, and how can I make you better? How can I give you an opportunity to be better? And how can I give you the opportunity to learn more about this amazing thing called church? God, thank you. Give us all enlivened speech. Invigorate our work and give us fresh hearts, because the work is not done. This shows us that we are providing and seeing a harvest, and let us continue to get back out there and pour into this next generation right now. God, we love you and we thank you and we lift this up in your name. Amen. Guys, thank you so much for coming out and supporting these next generation students, these now students. If we could y'all give another huge round of applause for all of them and what they've done? And if you guys are clapping, you guys can stand with me. I'll say the benediction, and we will jet out of here. If you need prayer for anything, there are those at the prayer cross that would love to pray with and for you guys. There's also communion elements if you guys would like to take communion. So we will say the benediction and jet on out of here. Colossians 3 next week. It is going to be amazing. Lord, let the words of our hearts and the meditations of our minds be acceptable and pleasing in your sight. You are our rock, our strength, and our Redeemer. Thank you, guys. I love you. Have a great